Hey, it's Joe, the ambassador for love, and today I'd like to talk about something that's really confusing. In fact, it's so confusing, I get emails and questions about it all the time. So if you've ever wondered, when should I have the talk? You know what I'm talking about. There comes a time where you're dating somebody and you think you're on the same page, you think he might be the one, and you want to make sure because you're getting conflicting messages. Well, you're going to love this video because what I believe is if you do your due diligence and you do everything right in the beginning and you date correctly, you should never have this talk. So let me explain. What most women don't understand is dating is a process. Think of it like a probation period. It's time for you to get to know a guy, to see if he's the right guy for the job. And if you do your due diligence from day one, a guy will show you consistently by his actions that he's the right guy and you're on the same path. So let me explain. When I met my wife, we never had to have the talk. She didn't need to say, where are you? Where are you in this relationship? Where do you see us going? You know why? Because we talked about it. As we dated each other, we simply inquired, where would you like to be in 5 years? What do you think about having kids? It was a natural progression. It happened organically. And I see this with all the women that I mentor who meet their mates. You know what? You don't have to have this talk. And that's the purpose of dating. So you have to realize is that you don't have to do this thing called the talk when you do everything correctly from the beginning. Now, I will acknowledge there are times where, the chemistry is so great, the sex is so good that you avoid having the talk. And very often, if we get real, why do we avoid having the talk? Come on, let's be real. We avoid having the talk because we might hear something that we don't want to hear. And if we get that answer, we'll have to make choices and decisions that we don't really want to make. It may cause us to have to walk away. And we'd rather not deal with it. So here's a little tip of advice. You can't run from things. Okay. You can put it off, but eventually you're going to have to deal with it. So one of my philosophies is that, you know what? I'd rather know now and be hurt than prolong and waste time and delay the hurt. It's better it's like ripping a Band-Aid. You better just rip it off, feel the pain, and get it over with, and then move on. So you've got to realize that your job is to get clear and to know who you are, know where you want to go, and know who's going to help you get there. And date a man who shows you consistently by his actions, not his words, because ladies, let's admit it, yes, some of us guys stretch the truth, lie, and tell you what you want to hear so we can get what we want. Okay. Again, those are the boys. I completely acknowledge that they're out there. But that's your job. Your job is to get clear and to date a man. And if you do that correctly, you'll never have to have the talk. And I know there are experts out there saying, you know what, you should have the talk at this time. BS. You do your job correctly from day one. You date a guy, and he will show you consistently by his actions. Now, I will say there will be times which maybe you haven't done your due diligence up front, where you get involved with a guy and you have this question. And it usually comes to what I call the sink or swim part of the relationship. Okay, we've had our fun. It's been a great experience. But are we going to go forward? Or is this the end of the road? And so for some guys, they need to walk away because they need to process. Because from a man, if we're going to spend the rest of our life with someone and be committed, that's some serious stuff. Okay, it's not just something that we take lightly. So very often for a guy, he needs to retreat. He needs to go back into his cave and really process this. And the last thing he needs is you pressuring him, saying, I want to know, where are we going? See, it's better for you to say, look, this is where I'm going, and I simply need to know if we're on the same page. And if we're not on the same page, that's okay. And you really need to stand in that place, stand from your power, and really feel that. And you have to be willing to let a guy walk away, knowing that sometimes he's just got to go back into his cave. And the right guy will go back into his cave and he'll realize that he's miserable without you. He'll realize how much happier he was and how much better his life was with you in it. And then he'll come running back and say, you know what? I was away. I realized that you're the best thing that ever happened to me, and I want to commit to you. And when you do that, you're going to have the kind of relationship and the kind of commitment that you've always wanted. But that's also taking a risk, because there's a chance that that guy will go back to his cave and realize, you know what, I'm not ready. I can't do that. She's a nice girl, but I've got some stuff going on. And this may even be unconscious for him. He just may realize that he's afraid of commitment, or he doesn't want to be with you, whatever it may be. He can't see himself with you. But you can't take that personal. It's like he wants vanilla ice cream and your chocolate chip. Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. You're just not his flavor. But at least you find out now, so that you can move on and go find the guy who does like chocolate chip, who does want to be with you, and who'll give you the kind of love, honor, and respect that you truly deserve. So I know this is a little controversial, because there are others say, you need to have the talk. But what I like to profess is that, from day one, if you date correctly and you do your due diligence, you'll never have to have this talk. So I hope this helps. If you have a friend who's in a relationship and she's not sure, she's trying to figure it out, you might want to pass this along to her. Might save her a lot of heartache in the end. I'll see you next time. Have a great one. God bless.